Joshua Meddaugh is an associate professor of political science at Clayton State University in Morrow, Georgia, just south of Atlanta. He joins us now via Zoom to sum up the day's events from the US. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Great to talk to you again. What a day for the United States.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, it really is a great day for the United States today. The last 4 years have been trying for at least half of the country, have been dark days. So this was a very stark move to a conversation of unity come together. And it's words and language we haven't heard in the last 4 years. And quite frankly, the country does need to hear. So a very good day for America.
All right. So let's talk about what he said. Was it the right tone, the right speech at the right time?
I think so, absolutely. If you've been watching some of his comments building up to this very moment, there's been a heavy dose of unity, conversation about decency, about the truth, ridding the political world of lies. And it felt like the nice crescendo, that kind of moment that he's really been building to bring everyone together. And I think the backdrop of the Capitol, of course, and what happened a couple of weeks ago here in the United States really just symbolically hammered home that there are problems in this country. But if we talk about it and we try to fix it and we come together as the United States, not red states versus blue states, urban versus rural, that we could really get through this like we have done many times before. So yeah, it hit the right chords, hit the right tone, and we'll see how it goes.
It's certainly not going to grab everybody, especially the diehard Republicans who are Trumpites more than anything else. But what was interesting is that he was very unpartisan. He didn't mention Democrats, Republicans once.
Right, and that's a great thing. This is something this country really does need to hear. 4 years ago on Inauguration Day, there was a flurry of conversation of us versus them, that the Democrats were the problem, that cities were the problem, and it really was divisive from the very beginning. And now this was just like, we're going to drop this partisan label. I'm the president for all Americans, and really kind of push the unity tone. And it's something that, of course, will be met with skepticism, especially from the far right. But the more you hear it and the more that President Biden acts, as he talked about, give him a chance and let him work on, go by his word and what he's doing, it really could help the country. I mean, we're fractured a little bit right now, but it's early enough that you can pull it together. And that's what this administration clearly seems that they want to do right out the get-go. And the more unity you have, the more you potentially will get done. So, yeah.
And I guess also, we've just seen images there of Kamala Harris putting her hand on that Bible and being sworn in. And in the history of America, that's the only female hand ever. And it happens to be a black woman as well. When you look at all of this, one gets a sense that this is certainly a new era for the country in terms of what is possible, all the things that had been promised. He's taken it seriously and has placed Kamala Harris in a place that shows America that there's a new order.
No, that's correct. It can't be understated that she is the first woman in U.S. history to have win a national election, a national office as a vice president, and that's going to mark a new day, and it's an historic day, and it's a great day in the United States, especially not just for all the citizens, but for all of the women who fought before Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, to allow for this to happen. It really is the signaling of change, and that is what the country is kind of moving forward to. And you're seeing it. There's loud objections, and people were unhappy, but it is time for change. And if this country continues to want to talk about leading the world and leading the free democracies, we need to really stand up and lead the way that we want to be seen, and that is diversity and change and embracing all. If it's liberty and equality and justice for all, then it really has to be. And this is a great step in that direction.
I'm not sure what the numbers are going to say eventually, but I have no doubt that this perhaps was probably the most watched inauguration, maybe since Barack Obama, around the world. And with that in mind, he did have a message for the international community. What was he trying to say?
What President Biden was trying to say is America's back. We're gonna come back to our friends, our allies. Open diplomacy. We're not going to shut conversation down or pull away from our longtime friends. We will help when asked. We will lead when asked, but we will also listen when asked, is what he was saying. The old America that's not that far away is coming back. I mean, was really different the last 4 years. Republicans and Democrats for years past have worked with the international community, and didn't matter who was in charge. We trusted our allies, and we worked with them, and we promoted democracy and freedom and peace. And that was really what President Biden was trying to say. Like, that's coming back. So our friends, our allies, were back, and it was kind of also a message that we're no longer going to kowtow to these kind of straw men leaders and things of that nature. So it's kind of a return to normalcy that we would say here in the United States. That has been that way with almost every other president, regardless of party.
It seems as if what happened on Capitol Hill was perhaps the defining moment of Donald Trump's presidency, but also the final act for those that were around him that said, look, we've been thinking about dumping this guy, but this is the moment, because it was just too much in the end.
That's correct. I mean, to have a riot at the U.S. Capitol, it was an attack on democracy. And these individuals who even supported the president, who are elected officials, their number one job was not to support the president, was to support the Constitution, defend and protect the U.S. Constitution. And that was a direct attack on our democracy and what they are sworn to protect. So it was easy for a number of these individuals to finally say, like, this, enough is enough, that we need to promote the Constitution, protect America, and do our sworn duties regardless of the label behind our last name as Republican. And I think that's what really led to the easier end of the transition. It is that riot and that storming really did mark, as you said, the end of the Trump presidency.
And in contrast, we have Joe Biden giving this speech about America, bringing America together. And then at Andrews Air Force Base, you had President Trump at the time giving his farewell speech. And it seemed to be all about him and what he did in the White House. And that's quite a sharp contrast to the message that Biden had.
Right. I mean, it's not entirely surprising. Donald Trump made his name before being president on branding himself. So most of everything he's going to talk about is what he did and what he wanted to achieve or what he did achieve. And regardless, and he'll make it sound like he had a lot of stumbling blocks. I mean, that's what we lived with for the last 4 years domestically in the States and internationally. If you look at farewell addresses from other presidents, regardless of party, they tend to talk about what happened, but focus on unity in the future and support of the country. So again, although it was mostly about himself, we're hoping that's the end of an era, because as our current administration is in there talking about unity, that message has to continue to spread. And hopefully with the younger citizens of the United States listening and younger voters, the idea of unity over partisanship and division really is important to push forward. And as an academic myself, we need that unity. We need that so we can help the spread of ideas and education and truth in the classroom. And regardless of partisanship, it's really important to help our country move forward and help be the leader that we want to be in the world.
What do you think Donald Trump meant when he said, "We have started a movement and we'll be back in some form"?
Could you repeat that? I only heard some of that.
I was just saying, what do you think Donald Trump meant during his speech when he said, "We have started a movement and we will be back in some form"?
Thank you. I think he's referencing specifically the conversation he's been having about creating his own political party, the Patriot Party. And this is just more demagoguery and language usage. I mean, we're a two-party system in the United States. Creating a third party wouldn't really work in this country. It never has. This is more just a call to his supporters that he hasn't forgot them and that they will support him. And he just wants to keep his name prominent in the news. This is what Donald Trump does. Like I said, this is before president. It'll be after president. The Trump name is known for a reason. That's more of that kind of like that ego building. So he's going to look at today, excuse me, not as a day of loss, but as a day of continuing his political career one way or the other.
All right. We've run out of time, but I've got to ask about Kamala Harris. So Joe Biden's laid his cards on the table. We heard from Donald Trump. We haven't heard from Kamala Harris, but what do you think her job is going to be in the next 4 years?
Her job is going to be I think she's going to be the unifier. I think she's specifically going to be a big message of what is possible and the great American dream of what one person can do and the future of what the party looks like. I think she is the link to the future of the Democratic Party, and she will be the message bearer. I think that's going to be her major job.
Professor Joshua Meddaugh, thank you so much indeed for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. Always good talking to you. Good night.
Great seeing him.
All right, that's Professor John Meddaugh saying that America's relieved, pleased, the vast majority of the country at least, with this message of unity that President number 46 of the United States, Joe Biden, delivered today.